welcome to today's episode. I'm Andrew Soteropoulos.
And I'm Terry Magalakis.
So welcome to CHP TV. I quickly just want to say thank you to everyone. Now, if you haven't watched the last two episodes from last week and the week before that was simultaneously done, it was uploaded in time, make sure to do so. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share. And those two subjects that we were talking about, started for a little bit there, was...
Well, the dark side of happiness, as well as don't compare yourself, but compare yourself. And look, I think with those videos, especially, if you have watched it, fantastic, that's good on you. But if you haven't watched it, we do advise go back, watch it, and at the same time, like and subscribe and all that sort of stuff. But with those videos, to recap, especially with the dark side of happiness, because something that we touched on. Especially knowing that too much happiness is actually not that good.
Looking more at life fulfillment rather than trying to find what makes you happy, because obviously there's going to be times where you need to work out stuff and grind through stuff, and it's not going to be a happy time. And also comparing yourself, but not comparing yourself, but also looking at who are your role models? Who are the people you want to look at? Who are the people you want to model? How do you want to model those things that are successful in order to take it into your own life? And make sure you do so. So if you haven't, make sure to go and check those out. And now on to the next part. On to today's episode.
Today's episode today, guys. So this is actually
very out of the box, isn't it? This episode.
Yes, it is very out of the box.
Creative.
Well, very creative, but also especially knowing that what is the difference between the two, because they do share very unique qualities, especially that fine line. And basically today's show, was basically something that we came across, and we think it's very, very important to know the difference, but also how can both of these things actually be of service to you. And what I want to begin today's show is the topic itself. It's pretty much insanity versus creativity. Do we need to be crazy? Now, this is actually, I found two stories, especially doing art school back in my teens and all that sort of stuff.
Asking me.
Yes. Some people, when people sort of read that, do we need to be crazy? Some people really look at that and going, if you are watching this and you are questioning that to yourself,
it's hitting your stuff when you. I think when you ask a question and then it brings up stuff like you're just like, what are you trying to say? Am I crazy? Am I insane? Is that what you're telling me? It's like, no, it's a topic.
But again,
that's when you know that's what. Subconsciously, that's what you're asking.
But
yourself.
Also, what is the actual true belief behind the crazy word itself? Because again, crazy can be depicted in so many different ways. And the thing is, the two stories that I want to bring to you guys today, especially with today's show, is what I had found, especially from a recent article that had pretty much to discuss about the artistic or the mythology of the crazy artist. Now, there's two artists here that I wanted to bring up. Especially for today's episode, and basically it's Edvard Munch and also Vincent van Gogh. Basically, I don't know if you guys do remember, and I would advise you to go look it up. But Edvard Munch, I hope I'm saying that properly. He's the main guy that created the painting of the Scream. Now, what he had gone through, especially during this time of this period of painting this painting, he often experienced terrifying nightmares and visions that significantly influenced his expressionist art style. So his vivid imagination and delusions helped him, create captivity of certain works which drew audiences and resonated with people's deepest fears. And look, after all, who'd be better at creating death-like images than someone who feels connection with the with fear of the everyday living? And that's what Edvard had did very well. But from creating that painting, The Scream, you can see these influences are very, very dark. And this goes on to Vincent van Gogh, especially from this article that I found. Vincent van Gogh is another iconic artist. I don't know if you guys know Vincent van Gogh, who's the guy who chopped both of his ears.
Now, a bit too much absinthe.
I
think it was woodworm or something like that.
Well, be prepared, because what they said here was that although he's a household name, Van Gogh was not famous during his lifetime, having been known as an eccentric person who cut off his own ears, like I had just said. However, despite being prone to depression and epileptic seizures, he was also intensely creative, producing post-impressionist paintings, but also drawings that gave him the global sensation of fame that he that he deserved. His wild mood swings as well gave him the intense burst of creative energy, provided him with the drive and passion to make his art a reality. And this is something that, with the mythology of the crazy artist, right? looking at these two people, you can actually see that I find the insanity part does serve them well. And I was going to bring it over to you, Andrew, because when it says crazy artist, we're not talking about people who paint, but we're also talking about
our everyday persons, athletes, sports stars.
Yeah, and the thing is,
actors.
So the question I was going to ask you is, especially with that crazy artist or the mythology, for one, do you think it is a myth, and two, do you think everyone is crazy when it comes to their journey, fulfilling their life and their duties to become successful?
Loaded question. I feel like it's a barrel of questions there. So to quickly go off it, I think when you're looking at the individual, right? Quick story: Al Pacino.
Yes.
I was saying in last week's before, scent of a woman, practically went blind, pretending to be being in that state of mind.
Yep.
In anyone, I think, in saying with all of us, once we embark on a journey, it's crazy in our own right. Because as soon as you tell someone, I'm going to go do this, they say you're crazy. You're insane. On our side, it's
but why? This is the thing I was going to ask you: is why do people say this? I know the answer, and I'll do my 2 cents. But I want to ask you specifically: why do people say that?
Oh, look, for me, it's poor versus rich, and what I mean by that is the person that, if it's a family member and it's someone else, it's obviously they'll always be like trying to help you, trying to make sure you're safe and so forth, and that's why we stay in a box. And as Einstein said, we're boxed in by the boundary conditions of our thinking, and we truly are. And I think he's got it right, because what happens is we box ourselves and say, you know what, this idea is too big. So when people say that's crazy or that's insane, majority of the time being negative, not in the positive light, saying, oh my God, that's an insane idea, do it. I think it's also holding that person back. It's like an extra chain on that person's back. Whereas in most people use it as motivation and say, I'm going to prove you wrong, or I'm going to prove myself wrong, or whatever the invention is, or whatever it is that they're going. And sports stars all the time need to pretty much have that outburst. And every time you hear in sports, they'll be like, and LeBron James had an outburst of 60 points today. It was an outburst, so clearly it's not what he usually does. He had an outburst, had a game, scored 60 points or whatever. So there's words. It's like when people say, they just lit up the joint, or whatever it is. They're out of nowhere. They're just shooting, and Ronaldo's going crazy. Whatever the case may be.
It's interesting when it's that intense creativity of that sudden burst.
Look at Anthony Robbins on stage. You almost be like, this guy's intense, man. Like, it's insane what he does. And
there was people at the
coaching
when I was working at the UPW convention where Tommy Robbins was hosting it. There was people come up to me saying, every time they go near him, if you ever been to a Tony Robbins sort of seminar or convention, pretty much he walks through the gaps within the seats where you get the feel of who he is. And a lot of people at the time who were my clients back in the past, they were saying to me, you can't, when you're around him, you can feel that aura of that energy. And sometimes he is mad, he is crazy, but that's the beauty of it. There's always beauty behind the craziness, especially that Einstein thing you said, because one thing was that story. If you convince the fish it would never climb a tree, So basically, there's a cartoon snippet of all these animals lined up, and there's a fish in a bowl. And then there's a teacher telling the fish, "Oh, you cannot fly, or you cannot climb a tree."
Yes.
And pretty much Einstein was pretty much saying to the fish, if you tell a fish that it cannot climb a tree, it always convinces itself that it's dumb.
Yeah, that's right. That is correct. And society's done that too.
And in relation to the craziness and the insanity or the creativity and stuff, right? Well, what is crazy?
What is it?
What isn't crazy?
What isn't crazy? I think everybody has their own unique, and going back to the journey that people embark on, everyone has their own unique way of looking at the world. So when you're on your journey, for whatever it is, the people listening right now and watching this, low self-esteem, depression, anxiety, maybe not in the right career, not in the right relationship, want to change a job, whatever it is, want to buy a house, want to start a business, whatever it is. Everyone, I think, has an entitlement to go start that journey. And it's crazy to start that journey. That's the best part about it. That video being so crazy.
That video that I tagged you in of John Cooper.
Yes.
So interesting story that I tagged Andrew in a couple of days ago. There's a little snippet of John Cooper. Now, John Cooper is the main man who invented the Morris Minor Cooper.
That's
right. You see that Mini Cooper in the Mr. Bean movies and all that sort of stuff. But the funniest thing is that it was during the time where classic cars were racing on the Monte Carlo circuit, and he was creating a very lightweight, small car, front-wheel drive. And a lot of people in this video, which was a biopic, pretty much telling you, John, you're crazy doing this. And he'll get this, not just from not one or two people, he'll get this on a continuous basis. But then he proved everyone wrong because that car, specifically that Mini Cooper, won 3 world titles, especially with the Monte Carlo Rally. It's one of those things.
But it's with anyone when they embark on a journey, they're deemed crazy or they're deemed insane because it's not the norm. If I turn around and said, look, I'm going to go get a job at a fruit market, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's cool. But I say, oh, you know what? I'm going to
go and
quit my job and go over, I'm going to go buy a fruit market. They'll be like, why?
Where are you going to get the money? I want to buy 10. Yeah, I want to buy 10
So
of them.
they'll be like, what are you doing? Why would you want to do that? There's certain things that you have to do, like, maybe a first year of marriage or certain things like don't put yourself under too much stress and take on too many responsibilities where you do become insane and you do lose that part of yourself. But when it comes to ideas, I don't think there's a limitation to ideas.
Come on. Even in my book, when the Wright brothers and Lamborghini. Yeah. Come on, guys. Guys, you've got to understand this, is that every person that you see who has had, not humble beginnings, who have, had a very tough beginning, you can see their ideas, when it comes to financial Lamborghini, the man who made Lamborghini itself, who was a tractor owner. The Wright brothers, you look at other people who were told you're crazy. And but
we all have it. We all have been told that we're creative, we're not good enough, or whatever the case may be. Yeah. And I think that's where creative
genius.
That creative genius comes out, or that insanity to go, I'm just gonna go effing do this right now and take that leap and go and do it.
Well, okay, question with Michael Jordan. Right, when he was a kid, do you think at the time when he was a kid and he was practicing so much and stuff, do you think he had the insane workout because he knew his end goal, he knew his dream?
I'll tell you another story. Here you go. Kobe Bryant came into the league. Of course, I'll talk about Kobe Bryant more because I follow Kobe Bryant more, and we're talking modeling, trying to model him as a basketball player and so forth. I was trying to be the best I could be.
Yeah.
When he came into the league, he would, and even to this day, listen to this story, right? So the Lakers had just lost to the Miami Heat when Dwayne Wade and LeBron James finally became teammates. Straight after the game, Kobe Bryant at Miami's home court stayed back and started training straight after a 48-minute game or whatever.
So has that been creative with the opportunity to do it, or has that been effing insane?
I think it's a bit of both.
It is insane.
It's 50-50. Now that's crazy. He probably would have played 40 minutes that game. I don't know how much. Yeah. To play basketball at that level and then straight afterwards put up more shots at the away team's court. People are still, everybody, lights are off, but he just kept them on at someone else's court to still put up shots, and he was, I think, 33 at the time.
33 at the time. And this basically saying that when I asked you that question about insanity and creativity, is it both? And you said it probably is. And this is what leads into the next topic, which we're going to talk about, but I want you to talk about this first, is that insanity and creativity, you've got to understand this, these things work hand in hand. Now, how?
Right, so I've pretty much just detailed out a few things about, just to get you guys to understand creativity first, and we'll quickly speak about insanity, and I know you've got a few things on it.
Yep.
Now, the creative part, creativity, research shows, comes from the right side of the brain, so the right hemisphere, right? The right side of the brain and the left side of the brain, what are their duties? What are their responsibilities for people that don't know and right now in a situation?
Yep.
I want you also right now to think about a moment in time or a moment in your life right now, whatever it is that you're feeling, depression, anxiety, like I was saying, low self-esteem. Maybe there's a fork in the road and you just don't know which direction you want to take. You just generally want to be better at life, or whatever it is you want to do, something you want to find fulfillment. So keep that in mind when I'm going through what I'm going to go through, right? The right side of the brain is responsible for creativity.
Yes.
Right? Research shows that. And how they did it was by imaging. So they showed a few images to certain people, and then they saw the brain activity, probed, and so forth. Right side. A list of things is responsible for art awareness.
Right side, guys. Right side of the brain. Right side of the brain.
Imagination. Insight. holistic thought, music awareness, intuition, which is very important.
Very, very important. Oh,
intuition is your second brain, pretty much. You know when people say your gut feeling?
There's three brains. There's three brains, and they say it's your heart, your gut, and your brain. But the gut is more intuition.
Your gut is your intuition, and basically saying to you, that feeling, something doesn't feel right or whatever. I want to do this. I feel like I just want to do this right now. I've been wanting to do it my whole life. And you get really tense. You get really worked up. You're like, let's go do it. And then people say you're insane. Well, that's where it comes from, right? Plus also looking at life in 3D ways, right? That's what gives us the sculpture of looking at this.
The physical format of this.
So the 3D form. Right? The left side is responsible for the analytic, the logic, the reasoning,
of course,
language, science and maths, numbers, writing skills, your ability to read or write. You know, dyslexia, lack of that part of the left-hand side of the brain at some points, right? Number skills, and obviously each hemisphere controls each part of the body. So the left controls the right side of the hemisphere controls the left side. We already know that, unless we weren't paying attention at school. Now, why is this all important in understanding creativity? Because I genuinely think whenever you have a problem, this is what I do, right? And this is what works for me. Anytime I have a problem, I sit down, and they've just done research on this, that 15 minutes a day of writing limits stress, depression, anxiety, and helps. Of course, reduce all those. Right? It's not a cure, but it helps. Now, as soon as I have a problem, I quickly drop down what that problem is. Right? Now I'm using which part of the brain? The left side of the brain. So logic or reasoning to understand what the problem actually is. Of course. The written skills, and going, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then I think, and what we call chunking up in coaching. We chunk up, say for what purpose? What is the problem? So what I will say is this: creativity is, right? Researchers say, I better put that in quotations, to solve a problem. Example. I'll give you the example. What can you get creative about right now in order to help solve a problem? I'm going to give you 3 steps, right? First is to action it. Right? So what do you need to do in order to move away from that problem or get over that problem or find a solution to that problem? The second part is the map. So where will it take you? What will it give you? How will you action that plan? Like, what is it that you need to do? All right, I need to start going to the gym. All right, I need to go speak to someone that is already in the gym and has gone through the problem I have. So what I did when I was suffering through depression was go speak to people that suffered depression, but not so much people that were clinically depressed, but people were clinically depressed, but also went into different areas of life and said, I'm going to go read this book or do this or whatever it is, trying to make it positive. So you see how the creative juices are going. How can we sort through life? How can we find solutions? So that's what that part of creativity and is about. That right side of the brain is looking at everyday life and looking at different ways and new ways of looking at products and ideas to try to sort through life, right? And the third step is for what purpose. Now you got to understand why you're doing all this. Why? Not why is the problem there, but what will it give you at the end of not having that problem? Right? So in 10, 20, 30 years time, what will it cost you by having this problem versus what will it give you in that period of time? But when it comes to insanity, that fine line is crossed when I think, for me personally, when things in your life, you got to look at everything in pros and cons. I think for me, my left side of the brain goes logically pros and cons.
Yeah, of course.
You got to sort.
That's how you break it down, because to understand insanity and creativity, you've got to understand both sides of the brain.
Both sides of the brain, and go and understand. Wait a minute, what's actually happening right now? And then you don't realize, and what people people get so stuck into work. Actors, too. They get so stuck into something, they become that role. Method
acting is creative. It's creative. It's very creative,
but also insane at the same time. Because God rest his soul, Heath Ledger, completely went insane about when it came to
the guy locked himself in, I think, in a week in a hotel room to actually get the voice and how the action's right. And the guy stayed in character. And one of my favourite movies, Dark Knight, the guy stayed in character for pretty much the majority of it. They even said, Christopher Nolan and the rest of the actors, I don't know who's the guy that played Two-Face in it, but he goes, this guy, you can see when he's putting the face on, he goes, he wakes up, he's in character.
Yeah. Now, and I think that's what people need to also do, I think, in life. I think there's a difference between having a fake smile and actually going out there and actually smiling in the universe, because a fake smile can always be recognized by people, and we do unconsciously. People know when someone's faking something.
Yes, of course.
Because your body structure changes, your face muscles change, and then people see the color distortion in your face and in your eyes and so forth. So
That's it, yeah.
That's why I think when it comes to insanity, I think the obvious thing driving yourself crazy about something for too long, a past breakup. What is depression? It's the lack of happiness in your life. Clearly, think of it that way. It's depressed energy. If we're energy, we're atoms, we're molecule, particle, everything. Depression, as Anthony Robbins states it, is compressed energy. So for me, I go, all right, let's get a little bit creative about it. Where in your life are you compressing something? Where in your life are you storing something? Where in your life are you doing something that's not helping you?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, especially with the understanding of creativity versus insanity. To actually break it down for people who are watching this, the left and right side of the hemisphere of the brain, it's very, very interesting to see. It's night and day.
It is.
Now, this is why the fine line of it is very, very hard. Knowing that I wrote working hand in hand is a very fine line, because the Oxford Dictionary, by the way, the man that made Oxford Dictionary was actually a schizophrenia.
A schizophrenic. He was a schizophrenic.
The guy who made the Oxford Dictionary was actually, I'm not joking. I read the most interesting thing about it. I'm thinking, hang on, the guy who made the Oxford Dictionary was actually insane. Because he was constantly thinking about...
He was actually
clinically
diagnosed
as schizophrenia, because he was thinking about each word and what they mean. And he made the dictionary. And because...
that's a schizophrenic. These institutions, mate, I tell you what, I'm coming for you.
What? So this is what the Oxford Dictionary said, or this is what the man's wrote.
Please tell me this story, I need to know now.
No, but so he defined creativity, and this is what the article says, as the use of... This is the main, same guy... The use of imagination or original ideas to create something, inventiveness. But what we mean by the word is discovering or establishing a new or an old idea in a new form.
Yeah.
So I'll say that again. Discovering or establishing a new or an old idea in a new form.
This is the definition of
creativity. And it says the act of doing something differently could be also seen as a part definition of the word. Now, yes, it does blow the mind away. I wish I had the guy's name who actually did it, because you see a photo of him, he's got books around him and stuff just to write the Oxford Dictionary.
Well, this is the thing. I think going off that, and I don't want to drag on too much, but I know for a fact, I think this topic is helping myself. I think this is, what do they call it? It's like a venting session, because as soon as I get an idea for something for us, I'll sit down with a notepad and just jot down everything. How would it look? How would it be? Where would it be? And I think people would call that insane, but I think planning life is so important, because like I always say, and heaps of people say, people plan a holiday better than they plan their life. So this guy here is creating the Oxford Dictionary or whatever, an actor, a director, a billionaire. Anyone successful, a scientist, actually has to see the end outcome in order to actually do what it is that... If you can't go, I'm going to dream and say, okay, where do I want to be in 10 years' time? I think there's definitely a fine line. And I think a lot of people... it angers me, and I'm getting a little bit emotional and angry right now when people limit that. Say, I want to do this, this, and this. For us, I think we're so creative, we're willing to do anything and everything, because... It's no, I want to try that. I want to go against the norm, and I think. But do you
understand as well, when people say to you, "Oh, that's crazy," you got to understand that you can tell them everything about your dream and goal and idea and whatever you're visualizing or imagining, but you can see it on your own canvas. But when you show other people, remember, different levels of conscious awareness, guys. That's all it is. Jim Carrey as well.
Everyone's like, he's gone insane. He's gone crazy.
He's gone crazy. He's not crazy. The guy is very intuitive. And look, when it comes to the fine line of it, I wanted to actually share with basically what the professionals had said, especially Andreas Fink. Now, He's an Austrian guy, but before we get into that...
His name has to be Andrew. The video
yeah, I know, the visual unfortunately his name's Andrew. So what they said was that the creative professionals are a bit more likely than others to suffer from bipolar disorders. So the healthy relatives of schizophrenics tend to enter creative fields. A generic variant of some psychosis may be related to creative achievement. Some dimensions of schizophrenia or schizotype personality traits that may make a person more vulnerable to schizophrenia predict a person's creativity, right? So and the list goes on from there. Mm-hmm. But the neuroscience group from Austria, like I said, led by Andreas Fink of the University of Graz, recently took a study of schizophrenia and creativity a step further. So Fink and the collaborators recruited a study of participants who were low or high in schizophrenia measures. While inside a brain scanner that they actually showed through each individual, the participants completed an idea generation task that asks people, right, to come up with original uses for everyday objects, a common assessment of creativity. Right?
And then so it's using the other side, logic
and
left-hand side, logic to understand what to use it for. So everyday use, objects, left-hand side,
and the creativity side of it, just let your creativity run wild.
Yeah.
So Fink and the others found some key similarities in the brain patterns of these people who scored well on originality and those who measured high in schizophrenia. These groups both groups showed reduced deactivation in the right hemisphere of the brain, an area of the brain that helps you gather information. Right, sorry, because I'm saying I think by looking at it, because I know that you're right and left and sort of stuff. But in the September issue of the Cognitive, Affective, and the Behavioral Neuroscience, Fink and the others concluded that perhaps creativeness and schizophrenic people share an inability to filter out extraneous or irrelevant material. And he goes on to quote that the finding that creativity and schizophrenia show similar effects at the level of the brain would thus support the idea that similar cognitive processes may be implemented in creativity as well as psychosis proneness. So he's pretty much saying that creativity, whatever the cognitive process that is fed into creativity can be fed also into schizophrenia. You got to remember that he chose people who shared similarities with being creative, but also being schizophrenic.
Well, I think that when you go into that mindset, so you an artist, for example.
Of course, yeah.
Well, not a house painter, but a painter, an artist. Or they use their right-hand side of the brain, like we were saying before, for art awareness to get their ideas. A lot of artists will drink or smoke or try to get into that state to just get into where they need to be. And
well, apparently, the story I found out is the lady who played in the original Wizard of Oz, I forgot the girl's name. Apparently, for her role that she did actually win an Academy Award for, apparently she went through 80 cigarettes a day just for that certain role. So, look, I know it seems like, if there's smokers out there who only smoke a deck a day or whatever, that's probably 25 cigarettes in a day. She was smoking 80 a day.
80 ciggies a day.
80 ciggies a day for this role. And there was less sleep and all that sort of stuff. And she was like caffeinated every single day, and she won her award out of it. So maybe it's that schizophrenic, that side of it that's actually leading to the creativity, or vice versa. And this is how it works off to each other. I mean, look at even like they're saying here as well that ancient Greece, you had the philosophers, you had Plato and all that sort of stuff, and Marcus Aurelius as well. Aristotle as well. Some of the most ingenious, most people who are very wise. Apparently, these people suffer from depression.
Right. I think we all do both. That's a thing. I think that's
where
it comes from. I think
like crazy artists.
Great ideas come from a bad place.
Of course, it does.
It's never. Think of it. Right now, people will say no. It's the argument of the good place.
Yeah.
Oh, the world's in need of this. So whatever the problem is, famine. It's coming from a negative place, and I think that's where ideas come from. And then you can chunk up on that and actually look at other ways of doing things. And I think that's the beauty of it, you would say. I think trying to understand both the creative side and the insane side, and saying, you know what,
because
might need to go out on the limb right now and go do this. If I've got a fear of public speaking, maybe I just need to go into the middle of the street and yell at the top of my lungs or whatever it is who cares what other people think? I think that's the problem too. I think that judgment of others.
Yeah, judgment of others, which really does deter off people, especially.
I think when you have the fear of others.
Oh, I mean, here's a great example.
I think it's a detriment to your own life.
A great example. Elon Musk's space program.
Oh yeah.
SpaceX, whatever it's called.
How much money he's lost?
Well, not only how much money he's lost, but apparently past astronauts from the Apollo program who actually went to Congress to actually put the stop to SpaceX. Because the guy was absolutely crazy for inventing the rocket that would land by itself, but also that what Elon Musk wanted to do to go to another planet and to inhabit it and all that sort of stuff. And people that he had looked up to, and it was a very emotional 60 Minutes episode that I watched, you can see Elon Musk just so upset that people he looked up to, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, all these guys, who went to Congress, try to put a stop to his SpaceX program. And I'm thinking, he's revolutionizing everything. He's trying to bring everything out of the norm and to push it. Even Tesla as well. But also that pod that he's trying to do, where it goes from one place to another, rapid speed, probably 17 minutes trip, whatever. And he gets, nailed to the cross.
And I think that's the best part. And I was thinking of this during the week.
Yeah.
Remember, I think I was talking to you. It was a podcast. Yeah, I think I said it to you or spoke to you. So there's the internal and external factors when people are motivated. So these people that achieve high performance, achievers, high performance achievers, athletes, actors, business people that are really up there, they have external and internal factors. So internal will be, I want to do this for myself, or I want to do this because it makes me feel good. Yeah. External is because of my family. I need to do this because I need to prove that person wrong. And I think it comes to a place in time, and I think this is something we'll agree to disagree. Yeah. A lot of people don't do it in spite of others. But there's a fine line when someone says to you, you can never do this. And I truly, as someone that's played sports for a very long time, as a soccer coach, as a life coach, as someone that was, I think I need to prove this person wrong for their own good, not just for me. I think because once you prove the insane is possible, the impossible is possible. Again, cliche moment, breaking down impossible, I'm possible.
Yeah, of course.
I think then it sheds light on that person to say, I think my life can be better because obviously I've just been proven wrong that you can achieve it. You can do anything you put your mind to.
Of course. And look, especially with when you have those critics, and this is something that does destroy people a lot, and especially when they say they call you crazy or they go, don't be stupid, especially when it comes to are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay doing this? Because again, it's something that you've seen, not the other person. If the universe has given you the idea and you've brought the idea into yourself and you've accepted it and you want to express it out into reality, it's one of those things where it's that was given to you to accomplish and to do. And look, with the insanity and creativity part, I wanted to bring also just a quick sort of example before we get to the next and final part. All right, imagine a person who has a book full of stamps. A person with a house with room full of stamps, and a person whose whole house is full of stamps. You could go anywhere in it and miss a lot of these stamps. The person in the stamp gathering would be seen as a healthy and sane individual. That's the first person. The second person, like I said, who has a room full of stamps, he would just be more of an expert stamp gatherer or just an expert in the field of stamps. But the third, whose stamps are literally spread out through the house, perhaps a line is when a person becomes obsessive about an activity.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people say you need to be obsessed about the area that you're in, or to be successful, you need to be. Need to be obsessed. Kobe Bryant was obsessed about winning, being the best he could be. Michael Jordan was obsessed to the point of insane. People thought he was insane of how crazy he was about wanting to be the best. And I think that being obsessed actually.
It becomes especially about an activity that I believe
championships.
Well, if you have desire in something, of course you're going to be obsessive about it.
You have to. I think you need to. You need to be. Yeah, you were saying.
But look, especially because you can think of people. I mean, come on, Air Jordans, guys. You mean come on? Anyone out there who collects Air Jordans?
You can't say that they're insane. Can you?
Well, hang on. Are they insane for having a room full of Air Jordans that they don't wear?
Nah, yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because
you're
see what I'm
right.
saying? Because but it's the
But I think I think it becomes a perspective thing. I think if you enjoy,
because you
enjoy it, yeah.
Because if you enjoy collecting these shoes, you don't wear them, but you go, here's one room full of my collections. Maybe that's something to you. Go, I own these certain Air Jordans. Ladies, come on, women, come on. I'm sure that you collect a lot of handbags and shoes.
Conspiracy theory here.
What?
I'm not saying it is a conspiracy theory. I'm just alert right now.
Yeah.
Obsessive compulsive disorder.
Okay.
Was that made by institutions in order to keep people that were creative and insane in order to keep them down?
See that, guys? So take
Because
note.
I was diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder. And I will admit it on camera that I do have a compulsive disorder of something.
Isn't it funny?
But mine stems from fear.
Okay.
So mine comes from, if I don't do this, something would happen. See, the question that I'm asking, if I was to reframe it and say, what good would happen from doing this?
Yeah.
So I was diagnosed with, because I would do something more than once. Like I would cross a line, I can't touch a crack. Because if you touch a crack, something would happen.
Because that is that perspective of if or that what's that thing they say, if you go underneath a ladder,
under a ladder, superstitions.
But look, with the
so the psychologist diagnosed me as obsessive compulsive disorder.
But guys, here's a question. I want to leave to you guys: is that label necessarily true? Knowing that the person may be creative,
ADHD,
attention
attention deficit disorder, or ADD. Attention
deficit hyper
disorder, which everybody would have because society's overstimulated in general. But you know, the funny thing is, put that same kid that you've just deemed ADD, put him in front of a PlayStation, an Xbox, a computer, or whatever it is that they're interested in, and then they could do that all bloody day. And that's, I think, the problem that we have with society is we like compressing things, boxing it, labeling it, and selling it.
Yeah, selling it to other people, but not selling it in a way of just getting money out of it, but selling it to your friends and family, believing that that's
what the problem is.
That's the problem is. But I've seen.
It's like I'm going to go out on a limb here, but many moons ago, when they would test homosexuals. To try to get it out of their brains.
Oh yes, I heard about. Oh my god, who's the guy that did it?
That was crazy, man.
Because
what?
we've seen when Pavlov's dog. Yeah, they tested on. Apparently the baby as well. When it came around, certain animals, also the rat experiment.
The rat experiment in the maze to check it.
And these people,
do we run by our neurons? Are we run by our neurological pathways, our nervous system? And
but the homosexual thing, like, I think it's just that in a way is not being creative. That's just being insane.
Well, back then was it? That's what I'm trying to say. Perspective, I'm saying, is it?
Yeah.
Obviously, right now it is.
Yep.
But in perspective, then is that insane or not?
Yeah.
It was like when they wanted to test schizophrenics or murder, and they'll just stick bloody a battery. They'll get a car battery or a battery, make a battery, and just start electrocuting them, thinking that that's going to help them.
Yeah.
And I wonder why they went into a psychosis.
Because and look, this brings us to the third and final topic of today is basically, look, what I'd found. And especially with, when it comes to the fine line between insanity and creativity, do we need to be crazy? So the answer that I've wanted to give to you guys, and what we had discussed before about the man who collects stamps, and like I said before, is that perhaps the line is when a person becomes obsessive about an activity, which brings me to be obsessive or be obsessed by it. Now, before we get onto you, I wanted to bring up.
I'm just writing.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Because I wanted to bring up this book from Joseph Murphy. It's called The Secret of the Subconscious Mind, and this was written back, I do believe, in the 60s and 70s. Now, what he had spoken about with one of his chapters is your subconscious mind is a partner to success, and he written about the 3 steps to success. And basically, what he had written down is that the second step, which was, I believe, is very in tune with being obsessive. He goes, the second step to success is to specialize in some particular branch of work and strive to excel in it. Mm-hmm. Suppose a student chooses chemistry as a profession. He should concentrate on one of many branches in this field and give all his time and attention to his chosen speciality. His enthusiasm should make him want to know all there is available about this field. If possible, he should know more than anyone else. The young man should become interested in his work and should desire to use it to serve the world. Now, with this...
Can you read that again?
Which part? All of it?
No. Just that part about what they should do.
Yeah, so he
go to like in that field.
The second, so the second step is to success. He said is to specialize in some particular branch of work and strive to excel in it. Mm-hmm. Suppose a student chooses chemistry as a profession. He should concentrate on one of many branches in that specific field and give all his time and attention to his chosen speciality. His enthusiasm should make him to know all there is and all that is available about this field. If possible, he should know more than anyone else. The young man should become adrenally interested in his work and should desire it to serve the world. Now, he's saying people's motives must be greater, nobler, and more altruistic. They must serve others, thereby casting, the bread upon the waters. But he goes on to more saying, well, here's a third step. But the second step is what I found reading this is a great, and I think it's a beautiful definition of insanity versus creativity, because the way he says it, Joseph Murphy, is pretty much the way he says it is that basically to specialize in some particular branch of work and strive to excel in it, and to express all of enthusiasm in it, and just one field specifically.
But I think that's how you become the best. I think being the best at what you want to do, you need to you need to focus on that area. You need to be the best at. If you want to be a teacher, a scientist, whatever the case may be, the best athlete in the world, you need to concentrate on that field. And I think not just working on your strengths, and high performance achievers, generally it's that they know their strengths, they know their weaknesses, and what they focus on is what's going to get the job done, because your strengths and weaknesses aren't going to come into play when you need to get something done. And the thing is, and you need to put it into work, and you need to
and the thing is, by being obsessive, I believe being obsessive over a certain particular field, whatever it may be, is what needs to get the job done. And basically, I believe that one idea, like Andy Frisella says, he goes, there's people out there who have too many ideas but not enough doing. So what you should have is one idea and a lot of doing. And that one idea should be your absolute main focus.
And I think once you master that, then you move on to something else. I think I don't think you take on too many projects at once. I've got caught up doing that. You've been caught up doing that. We've taken up too many clients at one point. 10 clients a week, 20 clients a week. It's like, but we work full time, and then and sometimes you can do too much and really burn yourself out.
Look, with the burning yourself out, I believe, there is a fine line with burning yourself out as well, because, some people work too hard, they don't work smart. So by loving with what you do, right, and this is the first step that what Joseph Murphy said about, how is the subconscious mind a partner to your success? He says the first step is that find something that you love to do.
That's it.
If you don't find something to love, if you don't find what you love to do, it's going to be a big issue for you, because you'll be working tirelessly, very, very hard,
monotonously,
but not getting into it.
Not monotonously, but you'll be it'll be against you. It'll go against you.
It'll go against you. And look, what I wanted to bring up to you, to finish up for today, especially with today's episode on today's show, is what can you get to people obsessed about? Like, what sort of questions should
I think that's what I was writing before. I'm like, how can we really end this in a positive note? Because I've really enjoyed this episode. I think this is last week we're like, oh, this is really it, but I think we've delved into something that's very important. I think because light bulb moments, a lot of things came up in my mind, and probably hopefully for the viewer, a lot of things too. Just a simple question: what are you obsessed about? And I think you need to write a list down of what you're obsessed about and the pros and cons.
That's it.
So it might be, I love watching TV. Idea, huh? You can't film the actual TV, but you can film yourself reacting to the TV, i.e. Google Box. Right? So there's many ways of doing things, but that's just the funny part. But obviously it's not going to get you money. It's not going to make you money. It's not going to serve you a purpose. A lot of people say, when getting a side hustle going or anything like that, maybe watch 1 hour less of TV, maybe watch 2 episodes the week after, get everything done first, eat dinner before, having, dessert. So one question is, what are you obsessed about? Simple, pros and cons, write them down,
Yep.
and start acting on those things, whatever
Yeah.
whatever it is. And I think the best cure to a lot of things is if you're going through something, is doing that crazy thing of doing what you're scared of.
Oh yeah. Hell
Like,
yeah.
if you're scared of public speaking,
The
start
fear-
speaking.
the death of
on camera.
what they say. The death of fear is when you start doing that certain thing.
Well, what is it? The number, yeah.
Well, sorry, not doing that certain thing, but it's saying the death of fear is certain when you go and do it with so much certainty that it's going to happen. It's going to work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what you said before, I think figuring out what it is that you love.
Yeah.
And I don't look. What you love and passion isn't going to give you money, right? But in the line of start doing more of the things that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And I don't mean drinking and going out and partying and all that. I mean things that are actually creative, things that are actually going to make you a better person and make this world better. Because the world we're in needs our help, and I truly believe that. And I think on that, it's been a pleasure. It's been a
great episode today.
Great
guys.
episode. I love how we delved into things, and we will
really
be
good.
bringing more of this to you. And don't forget, what are you obsessed about? Write them all down, pros and cons, and start working on those pros.
That's it.
Get rid of those cons, all right?
Until
And for
next
that,
time, guys.
Make sure you like, subscribe, share. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much.